As the massive colony ships of the Omega Deep Space Initiative powered up their drives and slowly began to depart Earth's orbit, a palpable sense of excitement and trepidation swept through the assembled crowds. Millions watched with bated breath as humanity's most ambitious interstellar endeavor to date embarked on its perilous journey into the great unknown. At the heart of the Omega Initiative stood Dr. Jessica Williamson, a brilliant astrophysicist whose tireless efforts had been instrumental in making this historic mission a reality. With an unwavering determination that had inspired all those around her, Williamson had fought tirelessly to secure funding, resources, and the backing of the world's superpowers. Now, as she gazed out at the receding form of the Earth, a mix of pride and apprehension washed over her. "This is it," she murmured, her eyes fixed on the distant blue orb. The beginning of a new chapter for humanity. Williamson had been selected to serve as the Omega Initiative's mission commander, a testament to the trust placed in her leadership and vision. Alongside her, the fleet was crewed by a hand-picked team of the brightest minds and most skilled technicians humanity had to offer. Scientists, engineers, doctors, farmers, and soldiers, all united in their pioneering spirit. As the ships accelerated beyond the bounds of the solar system, the colonists found themselves confronted with the stark realities of deep space travel. Months turned into years, and the endless expanse of the void outside their viewports became both a source of awe and unease. Confined to the cramped, utilitarian confines of the colony ships, the colonists had to contend with the monotony of their daily routines, the psychological strain of isolation, and the ever-present risk of systems failures or equipment malfunctions. Yet, through it all, Williamson's unwavering leadership and the colonists' shared sense of purpose kept morale high. She made regular rounds, speaking with each crew member, listening to their concerns, and providing encouragement. In the communal areas, the colonists gathered to share meals, swap stories, and find solace in the bonds of their newfound families. "We're making history here," Williamson would often remind them, her eyes alight with determination. "Every day that we endure, every obstacle we overcome, brings us one step closer to our goal. We are the pioneers, the trailblazers who will open the way for generations to come. Remember that, and never lose hope." The colonists took those words to heart, drawing strength from the knowledge that they were part of something greater than themselves. They'd poured their energy into their duties, perfecting the delicate balance of the colony ship's life support systems, maintaining the intricate network of hydroponics bays and laboratories, and training for the challenges that awaited them on the distant exoplanet. As the years passed, the Omega fleet pressed on, its course plotted with painstaking precision. Williamson and her senior staff closely monitored the ship's systems, anticipating and addressing any potential issues before they could escalate. They knew that a single catastrophic failure could doom the entire mission, and they were determined not to let that happen. Finally, after 15 long years of travel, the Omega fleet reached the edge of the binary star system that would be their new home. The colonists crowded around viewports, drinking in the sight of the Earth-like world that hung suspended in the void. A hush fell over the fleet as Williamson's voice crackled over the intercom. "We've arrived," she announced, her tone tinged with a mixture of relief and trepidation. "Prepare for landing procedures. This is where our true mission begins." As the massive colony ships maneuvered into orbit, the colonists steeled themselves for the challenges that lay ahead. They knew that establishing a permanent human settlement on an alien world would be a daunting task, fraught with unknown dangers and obstacles. But in their hearts, they were united by an unwavering belief that they were the vanguard of a new era for humanity, one that would push the boundaries of their species' reach and cement their place among the stars. As the Omega colony ships settled into a stable orbit around the lush, Earth-like exoplanet, the colonists' initial excitement quickly gave way to the harsh realities of establishing a permanent human settlement on an alien world. The task ahead of them was daunting, requiring meticulous planning, flawless execution, and an unwavering determination to overcome any obstacle. Under Dr. Williamson's steady guidance, the colonists set to work, dividing themselves into specialized teams to tackle the myriad challenges. Engineers and technicians worked around the clock to deploy the colony's prefabricated habitats, life support systems, and power generation facilities. Geologists and soil scientists surveyed the planet's surface, mapping resources and identifying the most suitable sites for farming and construction. Medical personnel established trade centers and began stockpiling vital supplies, bracing for the inevitable injuries and illnesses that would arise. Throughout it all, Williamson made it a point to keep morale high, rallying the colonists with rousing speeches and leading by example. She could often be found alongside the work crews, her sleeves rolled up as she lent a hand with the back-breaking labor. Her tireless efforts and infectious optimism inspired the colonists, who drew strength from her unwavering belief in their mission. "We are the first humans to set foot on this world," Williamson reminded them during one of her daily addresses. "Our footsteps will be the first to mark this alien soil, our voices the first to echo across these alien skies. We are the pioneers, the trailblazers, and the future of our species depends on our success. So let's get to work." Yet, as the months turned into years, the strain of their endeavor began to take its toll. Systems failures, equipment malfunctions, and unexpected challenges arose with alarming frequency, testing the colonists' resolve and technical prowess. A critical power grid malfunction crippled half the colony's life support systems, while a sudden outbreak of a previously unknown pathogen swept through the population, overwhelming the medical teams. In the face of these setbacks, Williamson refused to let the colonists' spirits flag. She worked tirelessly, coordinating teams, troubleshooting problems, and ensuring that no one was left behind. Her unwavering determination and unwillingness to give up in the face of adversity galvanized the colonists, who rallied around her leadership. "We knew this wouldn't be easy," Williamson reminded them during one of the colony's darkest hours. "But we're not quitters, and we're not going to let a few setbacks stop us. We're in this together, and we're going to see this through to the end. No matter what happens, we will prevail." The colonists took those words to heart, pouring their energy into finding solutions and restoring the colony systems. They worked around the clock, improvising tools and techniques, and drawing upon every ounce of their collective knowledge and expertise. When a critical piece of equipment failed, they scavenged parts from other systems to keep it running. When the pathogen continued to spread, they isolated the infected and developed a makeshift vaccine. Through it all, the bonds of community and camaraderie that had formed during the long voyage only grew stronger. The colonists found solace in each other, sharing meals, exchanging stories, and offering encouragement in the face of overwhelming odds. They were no longer just a collection of individuals. They were a family, united in their determination to succeed. As the years passed, the Omega colony slowly but surely took shape, its structures and systems becoming more robust and efficient with each passing day. The colonists celebrated small victories, taking pride in every milestone they reached. And through it all, Dr. Williamson remained a steadfast, inspiring presence, guiding her people with a steady hand and an unwavering belief in their shared destiny. "We are the first," she would often say, her eyes shining with pride. "But we will not be the last. This is just the beginning, my friends. The future is ours to write." After 15 grueling years of travel and the countless challenges of establishing the Omega colony, the colonists finally found themselves able to pause and take in the breathtaking alien landscape that surrounded them. The lush, Earth-like exoplanet was a marvel to behold, with towering mountains, sprawling grasslands, and vast bodies of shimmering water that stretched out as far as the eye could see. For many of the colonists, this was the first time they had stepped foot on an alien world, and the sense of awe and wonder was palpable. They explored the unfamiliar terrain with a mix of caution and curiosity, marveling at the strange flora and fauna that inhabited this distant planet. The air was crisp and fresh, devoid of the pollution and congestion they had grown accustomed to back on Earth. "It's like something out of a dream," murmured Alicia Nguyen, one of the colony's lead botanists, as she ran her fingers through the vibrant blue grass. "I can hardly believe we're really here." Under Dr. Williamson's guidance, the colonists set to work expanding the fledgling settlement, transforming the raw, untamed landscape into a thriving human outpost. Teams of engineers, architects, and construction workers labored tirelessly, erecting prefabricated habitats, establishing power grids, and constructing the necessary infrastructure to support the growing population. Meanwhile, the colony's scientists and researchers conducted extensive surveys and experiments, cataloging the alien flora and fauna, studying the planet's geology and climate, and searching for resources that could be harvested and utilized. They marveled at the similarities between this world and Earth, but were equally fascinated by the differences: the bizarre creatures that roamed the plains, the complex ecosystems that had evolved in isolation, and the subtle yet profound ways in which the alien environment differed from their home planet. As the months turned into years, the Omega colony began to take shape, becoming a thriving and self-sustaining human settlement. The colonists took great pride in their work, watching their home grow and evolve with each passing day. They cultivated lush gardens, established livestock herds, and even began experimenting with terraforming techniques to further shape the land to their needs. At the heart of it all was Dr. Williamson, whose unwavering leadership and vision continued to inspire the colonists. She moved among them like a beacon, offering guidance, encouragement, and a steadfast belief in their shared destiny. "This is only the beginning," she would often say, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "We are the first, but we will not be the last. One day, the Omega colony will be just the first of many human settlements across the stars." The colonists took those words to heart, their determination renewed with each new challenge they overcame. They knew that the success of their mission would pave the way for future generations of explorers and pioneers, and they were committed to laying the groundwork for humanity's expansion into the cosmos. As the colony grew, so too did the colonists' sense of connection to this alien world. They began to see it not merely as a temporary home, but as a place to put down roots and build a future. Families were started, children were born, and the first generation of Omega-born citizens began to emerge, their lives inextricably linked to this distant, wondrous planet. Yet even as the colonists reveled in their accomplishments, they could not shake the nagging sense of unease that had settled over the settlement. The ease with which they had established their foothold on this world, the lack of any apparent indigenous intelligent life, and the unsettling silence that permeated the alien skies, all of it served to heighten their vigilance and their sense of foreboding. Something was out there, they knew, and it was only a matter of time before it made its presence known. Just as the Omega colony was beginning to thrive, a series of unsettling events unfolded that would forever alter the course of the human settlement. It started with a series of unexplained sensor readings, blips on the periphery of the colony's detection grid that the technicians initially dismissed as glitches or malfunctions. But as the anomalies persisted and grew in frequency, a growing sense of unease began to sweep through the population. "There's something out there," warned Ethan Blackwood, the colony's head of security. "I don't know what it is, but it's not natural. We need to be on high alert." Dr. Williamson took Blackwood's concerns seriously, convening a meeting of the colony's senior staff to discuss the situation. They pored over the sensor data, analyzed the readings, and debated the appropriate course of action. Should they attempt to investigate the source of the anomalies, or focus their efforts on fortifying the colony's defenses? In the end, Williamson's decisive leadership prevailed. "We can't afford to be reactive," she declared. "Whatever is out there, we need to be prepared. We'll divert resources to enhancing our detection and defensive capabilities immediately." Under Williamson's directive, the colonists sprang into action. Engineers and technicians worked around the clock, retrofitting the colony's systems with advanced sensors, early warning systems, and defensive countermeasures. The colony's security forces underwent intensive training, honing their skills in anticipation of a potential confrontation. Yet, despite their preparations, nothing could have prepared the colonists for what happened next. It came without warning, a sudden and devastating attack that caught the colony completely off guard. An enormous alien vessel, unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, materialized out of the darkness, its ominous silhouette blotting out the stars. Before the colonists could react, the alien ship unleashed a devastating barrage of energy weapons, raining destruction upon the fledgling settlement. Alarms blared, structures crumbled, and chaos erupted as the colonists scrambled to mount a defense. Dr. Williamson's voice rang out over the colony-wide comm system, her calm yet urgent tone belying the gravity of the situation. All personnel, to your battle stations immediately. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. We are under attack. All available security forces converge on the central command post for immediate deployment. The colonists responded with admirable discipline, their training and preparedness kicking in as they rushed to their assigned positions. Security teams, armed with the colony's hastily assembled defensive weapons, took up strategic positions, preparing to repel the alien invaders. In the command center, Williamson and her staff worked feverishly, coordinating the defense while simultaneously attempting to decipher the capabilities and intentions of the alien vessel. Its sheer size and the devastating firepower it wielded were unlike anything they had ever encountered, and they knew that their chances of survival were perilously slim. "We need to buy time," Williamson declared, her eyes narrowed in determination. "Send out a distress signal to Earth. If we can hold out long enough, maybe they can send reinforcements." As the alien ship continued its relentless bombardment, the colonists fought back with everything they had, their weapons fire peppering the alien vessel's shields to no avail. One by one, the colony's defensive emplacements were systematically destroyed, and the colonists were forced to retreat, falling back to more heavily fortified positions. Amid the chaos, Williamson caught sight of the distant silhouettes of the colony ships, still in orbit, their fate now inextricably linked to the outcome of the battle. She knew that if the alien invaders breached the colony's defenses, the ships themselves would be the next targets. The stakes had never been higher. "We can't let them win," she said, her voice tinged with a rare note of desperation. "We have to hold the line, no matter what. For the sake of our people, and for the future of humanity, we cannot fail." As the colonists made their final desperate stand, they knew that the very survival of their species hung in the balance. This was not just a battle for the Omega colony, it was a fight for the future of mankind itself. Against all odds, the human colonists of the Omega settlement managed to repel the devastating assault from the alien invaders, but at a crippling cost. As the last of the enemy's energy weapons fire dissipated, an eerie silence settled over the battered colony, punctuated only by the hiss of damaged systems and the anguished cries of the injured. In the command center, a haggard Dr. Williamson surveyed the scene with a mixture of relief and profound sorrow. Dozens of colonists had perished in the attack, their bodies strewn amidst the ruins of the once thriving settlement. The defensive emplacements that had been so painstakingly constructed were now little more than twisted, smoldering wrecks, and critical infrastructure lay in ruins. "We're alive," Williamson murmured, her voice tinged with disbelief. But at what price? As the dust began to settle, the colonists turned their attention to the task of recovery and rebuilding. Medical teams rushed to treat the wounded, while engineers and technicians worked to restore the colony's vital systems. Amidst the chaos, Williamson called for an emergency meeting of the senior staff, her expression grim. "We need to know what we're up against," she said, her eyes burning with determination. "I want a full analysis of that alien vessel, its technology, its capabilities, its point of origin. We can't afford to be caught off guard like this again." The colonists set to work, scouring the wreckage of the alien ship for any clues or remnants of its technology. What they discovered both fascinated and terrified them. The vessel's hull was composed of a material unlike anything they had ever encountered, impervious to their conventional weaponry. Its energy weaponry was devastatingly powerful, capable of leveling entire sections of the colony with ease. But most unsettling of all were the insights they gleaned into the alien ship's navigational and propulsion systems. The colonists had long assumed that their journey to this distant world had been the first of its kind, an unprecedented feat of human exploration and engineering. Yet the data they recovered indicated that their new home was not as remote or isolated as they had believed. "This ship didn't just materialize out of nowhere," said Ethan Blackwood, the colony's head of security. "It came from somewhere, and that means there are more of them out there, potentially a lot more." The realization sent a chill through the colonists. They had come to this world with dreams of building a new home for humanity, of carving out a future among the stars. But now, confronted with the prospect of a hostile alien civilization, their vision of the future had been irrevocably altered. Williamson, however, refused to be cowed by the daunting challenge that lay before them. Drawing upon the colonists' collective ingenuity and determination, she spearheaded an ambitious plan to reverse engineer the alien technology, with the goal of creating new defensive systems and weaponry that could protect the colony from future attacks. "We will not be caught off guard again," she declared, her voice ringing with unwavering conviction. "We will fight back, and we will win. For the sake of our colony and for the future of our species, we must succeed." The colonists rallied around her call to arms, their spirits buoyed by Williamson's indomitable resolve. They worked tirelessly, forgoing rest and leisure, driven by a sense of purpose that transcended their individual needs. Day and night, the sound of welding torches and the hum of advanced machinery filled the air, as the colonists pushed the limits of their knowledge and capabilities. As the weeks turned into months, the fruits of their labor began to take shape. New defensive emplacements were erected, boasting energy shields and pulsed beam weaponry that mirrored the alien technology. The colony's early warning systems were expanded and enhanced, providing a more comprehensive detection grid. And in the command center, Williamson and her staff pored over the data they had retrieved, searching for any clue that might give them an edge in the looming conflict. For the colonists of Omega, the battle had only just begun, but they were determined to stand their ground, to defend their new home, and protect the future of humanity, no matter the cost. As news of the Omega colony's harrowing battle and miraculous survival against the alien invaders spread back to Earth, a wave of renewed enthusiasm and support swept through the corridors of power. The human homeworld had been captivated by the colonists' daring journey and the establishment of the first permanent settlement beyond the solar system, and their resilience in the face of such a formidable threat only served to heighten the global community's resolve to ensure the colony's success. Within weeks, the wheels of bureaucracy and industry were set in motion, as follow-up missions were quickly organized and outfitted with the resources and reinforcements the Omega colony so desperately needed. Shipments of advanced equipment, specialized personnel, and vital supplies were dispatched, destined for the distant exoplanet that had become the focal point of humanity's interstellar ambitions. At the helm of this renewed effort was Dr. Jessica Williamson, whose inspirational leadership and unwavering determination had become the driving force behind the Omega colony's survival and continued growth. She worked tirelessly, coordinating with the teams on Earth, ensuring that every detail of the follow-up missions was meticulously planned and executed. "We can't afford any missteps," Williamson said, her brow furrowed in concentration. "The stakes have never been higher. We need to make sure that the colony is fully equipped to defend itself against any future attacks." As the first of the reinforcement ships arrived, the colonists greeted them with a mixture of relief and anticipation. The new arrivals brought not only much-needed supplies and equipment, but also a renewed sense of hope and determination. They had heard the harrowing tales of the alien assault, and they were determined to lend their skills and expertise to the colony's defense. Under Williamson's direction, the colonists set to work, integrating the new personnel and resources into the existing infrastructure. Engineers and technicians worked around the clock, upgrading the colony's defensive systems, while security forces underwent intensive training to hone their skills in anticipation of future confrontations. "We're not just fighting for ourselves anymore," Williamson reminded the colonists during one of her rallying speeches. "We're fighting for the future of our species. Every human being back on Earth is counting on us to succeed, to hold the line against this alien threat. We can't let them down." The colonists responded with unwavering resolve, driven by a sense of purpose that transcended their individual concerns. They knew that the fate of their settlement, and perhaps the entire human race, hung in the balance. Failure was not an option. As the months passed, the Omega colony grew stronger and more fortified with each passing day. New defensive emplacements dotted the landscape, their energy shields and pulsed beam weaponry a testament to the colonists' ingenuity and determination. The early warning systems were expanded, providing a more comprehensive detection grid that scanned the skies for any signs of the alien vessels. And throughout it all, Williamson remained a constant, guiding presence, her steady hand and unflappable demeanor inspiring the colonists to ever greater heights of achievement. She moved among them, offering encouragement, listening to their concerns, and ensuring that morale remained high. "We are the vanguard," she would often say, her eyes alight with pride. "We are the first to forge a path among the stars, and we will not be the last. This colony, this world, it is ours, and we will defend it with everything we have." As the colony's defenses grew stronger, a growing sense of unease began to take hold among the colonists. The sudden and devastating attack had shaken them to their core, and the knowledge that there were more of these alien vessels out there somewhere hung over them like a dark cloud. They knew that the battle was far from over, and that the true test of their resolve was yet to come. But in the face of that uncertainty, the colonists found solace in their shared purpose and the unwavering leadership of Dr. Williamson. They were united, bound by a determination to protect their new home and secure a future for humanity among the stars. And they were ready, whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Omega colony continued to grow and thrive, the colonists made a startling discovery that would forever change the course of their mission. While conducting a routine survey of the binary star system's outer reaches, one of the colony's deep space observation teams detected a massive energy signature on the edge of their detection grid. A signature that bore an unsettling resemblance to the alien vessel that had launched the devastating attack on their settlement. The news sent shockwaves through the colony's senior staff, and Dr. Williamson immediately convened an emergency meeting to discuss the implications of this startling development. "This isn't a lone scout ship," Ethan Blackwood, the head of security, declared grimly. "The readings indicate a much larger vessel, possibly the vanguard of a much larger fleet. We're talking about the potential for a full-scale invasion." Williamson's brow furrowed as she absorbed the gravity of Blackwood's words. The colony had invested countless hours and resources into fortifying its defenses, upgrading its early warning systems, and stockpiling advanced weapons and technology. But now, faced with the prospect of a far more formidable alien force, she knew that those preparations might not be enough. "We have to assume the worst," she said, her voice low and resolute. "This is an existential threat, not just to our colony, but to all of humanity. We can't afford to be reactive this time. We need to strike first." The other members of the senior staff exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of Williamson's words hanging heavily in the air. They knew that what she was proposing was a monumental gamble, a high-stakes gambit that could either secure their survival or bring about the downfall of the entire Omega colony. But in the end, there was no other choice. Driven by a profound sense of responsibility to protect their new home and the future of their species, the colonists rallied behind Williamson's audacious plan. Under her direction, the colony's brightest minds and most skilled technicians worked tirelessly, harnessing the reverse-engineered alien technology to develop a daring offensive strategy. They retrofitted the colony's defensive emplacements, transforming them into powerful long-range weapon platforms capable of delivering devastating strikes against the approaching alien vessel. Meanwhile, Teams of the colony's most elite security forces trained relentlessly, mastering the intricacies of the new alien-derived weaponry and preparing for the imminent clash. They knew that the fate of the Omega colony, and perhaps the fate of humanity itself, hinged on the success of this desperate gambit. As the days ticked by and the alien vessel drew ever closer, the tension within the colony reached a fever pitch. Williamson could feel the weight of her decision bearing down on her, the burden of responsibility weighing heavily on her shoulders. But she remained steadfast, her unwavering determination inspiring the colonists to push themselves to the limits of their abilities. "This is our moment," she told them, her eyes burning with a fierce resolve. "We are the first, the pioneers who have carved out a home among the stars. And now we will be the ones who defend it, no matter the cost." The colonists responded with a newfound sense of purpose, their hearts and minds united in a singular focus. They knew that the battle that lay ahead would be the defining moment of their mission, a make-or-break confrontation that would determine the very future of humanity. As the alien vessel loomed ever closer, the colony's defenses sprang to life, pulsed beam weapons and energy shields activating in a choreographed display of technological might. Williamson stood at the heart of the command center, her gaze fixed on the distant silhouette of the approaching vessel, her hands clenched into tight fists. "This is it," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the colony's systems. "For the sake of our people and for the future of our species, we cannot fail." With a deep, steadying breath, she gave the order to open fire, and the battle for the Omega colony, and the very fate of humanity, began. As the massive alien vessel drew within range of the Omega colony's defensive emplacements, the air crackled with a palpable tension. Hundreds of colonists, their faces etched with determination, manned the advanced weapon systems that had been hastily erected across the settlement's perimeter. At the heart of the operation, Dr. Jessica Williamson stood in the command center, her eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical readouts, her fingers poised over the firing controls. "All units, stand by," she ordered, her voice calm and unwavering. "Wait for my command." The colonists held their breath, every muscle taut with anticipation. They had spent countless hours training for this moment, mastering the intricacies of the alien-derived technology that now graced their defensive positions. They knew that the fate of the Omega colony, and perhaps the future of humanity itself, hung in the balance. Then, with a decisive flick of her wrist, Williamson gave the order. "Fire!" A barrage of pulsed beam energy lanced out from the colony's fortified emplacements, streaking toward the alien vessel with blinding speed. The massive ship, caught off guard by the sudden and devastating assault, reeled under the onslaught, its powerful shields flickering and faltering. Encouraged by the initial success, the colonists redoubled their efforts, pouring everything they had into the relentless bombardment. Streams of energy weapons fire rained down upon the alien vessel, pummeling its defenses with each passing second. Aboard the massive ship, the alien crew scrambled to regain control, their once formidable vessel now trapped in a deadly crossfire. Alarms blared, systems overloaded, and the very fabric of the ship began to buckle under the sheer ferocity of the human attack. In the Omega colony's command center, Williamson watched the unfolding battle with a mixture of awe and grim determination. She knew that this was only the beginning, that the true test of their mettle had yet to come. But for now, the tide of the battle had turned in their favor, and she was determined to seize the initiative. "Keep firing," she barked, her eyes blazing with fierce resolve. "Don't let up for a moment." The colonists obeyed without hesitation, their fingers dancing across the weapon controls, their focus unwavering. They had come too far, sacrificed too much, to let this opportunity slip through their fingers. This was their moment, their chance to strike a decisive blow against the alien invaders and secure the future of their settlement and their species, once and for all. As the battle raged on, the human assault proved relentless and unforgiving. The alien vessel, Its shields battered and its systems crippled, began to list dangerously, its trajectory veering erratically as it struggled to maintain control. Sensing the enemy's imminent demise, the colonists surged forward, unleashing the full fury of their advanced weaponry. Pulsed beam fire lanced out in crisscrossing streams, shattering the alien ship's hull and ripping through its core. Explosions tore through the vessel, sending debris hurtling in all directions as the massive craft began to break apart. In the command center, Williamson and her staff watched in stunned silence as the alien vessel disintegrated before their eyes, its dying throes a testament to the determination and ingenuity of the human colonists. A hush fell over the settlement as the dust began to settle, the colonists scarcely daring to believe what they had just accomplished. They had taken the fight to the enemy, and they had won, a victory that would reverberate through the annals of human history. Williamson stepped forward, her gaze sweeping across the faces of her people, a mix of pride and awe etched in her features. "We did it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We stood our ground, we fought back, and we prevailed. You should all be proud. You are the pioneers, the trailblazers who have secured a future for our species among the stars." A cheer rose up from the gathered colonists, a roar of triumph that echoed across the alien landscape. They had overcome insurmountable odds, faced down a formidable enemy, and emerged victorious. The Omega colony stood as a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, a shining beacon of hope and resilience in the vast expanse of the cosmos. As the colonists celebrated their hard-won victory, Williamson knew that this was just the beginning. The road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but she was more convinced than ever that humanity was destined for greatness beyond the confines of its home planet. "This is our legacy," she said, her eyes shining with an unshakable conviction. "The first of many steps toward a future among the stars. And we will not rest until that future is secured, no matter what lies in wait for us."